Now here you're going to see combining like terms, and apples and oranges don't combine. Again, if you look at your notes when we talked about simplifying expressions like this, I told you that you should always, simplifying means get rid of parentheses using the distributive property, right? And then combine like terms. So if you don't see parentheses, all you need to worry about when you have a problem that asks you to simplify expressions, all you have to do is combine like terms. So in this case, are there any, we have three terms, 1, 2, 3, any like terms?
Yeah, 7x squared and 2x squared.
Okay, 7x squared and negative 2x squared. Those are like terms. And we usually write expressions starting with the highest power of x. If you don't do it like that, it's no big deal. You have full credit if you have your terms correctly. But this is the usual way. So when I combine 7x squared minus 2x squared, what do we have?
5x squared.
5x squared. Very nice. Notice that the exponent doesn't change. We combine the coefficients and keep the power of x. What else is there?
Plus 5x.
There's this term by itself, 5x. Could I combine these since both of them have 5s?
No.
No. They are not like terms. So we are finished right here. Apples and oranges. That's where we stop. All right? The next problem is similar, but it's got parentheses. We must get rid of those before we combine like terms. Question?
Okay, I did that, but then after I did the 5x, and then I did parentheses x plus 1, how do you know when to solve for that? Or
Whether you should factor, like pull out the GCF?
So it'll say factor the expression?
Right, exactly right. So simplify is always going to be get rid of parentheses, combine like terms, period. Whenever I need you to pull out the common factor, because you're correct, you could do it here, I would tell you specifically, pull out and factor this expression completely. Factor, yeah. Otherwise, you can stop right here. Now, if you do forget on the test and you factor it correctly, you get full credit. But that's what I was looking for. Now let's get rid of parentheses here. We're going to distribute. Usually, I just indicate multiplication with little arrows like that, and I will say 2 times 3x.
6x.
2 times minus 4.
Negative.
Now, I'm going to distribute a negative sign. What is that going to do to the terms inside? It's going to change the signs of them. That's like a negative 1 being multiplied by each of these. So negative 1 times 5x will be negative 5x. And negative 1 times 6. This is going to be one of the trickiest parts for you to get comfortable with. Many students distribute that properly to this number and they forget to do it here. It's a very common mistake for students to have a plus 6 right here.
We wouldn't put parentheses around the negative 5x?
There is no more parentheses. Once you distribute the sign, there's no more parentheses, and all you're left with is combining like terms. Any like terms?
6x.
All right, the highest power of x would be just x to the first power, so I have 1 here. So what is 6x minus 5x?
X.
1x. Now if you write 1x, that's okay, but the common way is when the coefficient is 1, we just write x. Now let's combine the numbers that don't have a letter, negative 8 and negative 6. And remember, you can always use your calculator, right? I don't have a problem with you using your calculator if you feel a little shaky with, combining positive and negative numbers. That's not what I'm testing here. All right, C. I have a 5x that, now this is, I'm going to show you a very common mistake that students make. Some students will say 5x minus 4x, x, and then they will distribute that. But that's incorrect. How come?
Because you don't have to do that quick.
You have to do the 4x.
Because I have subtraction here, and what's the operation here? Multiplication. What comes first? Multiplication. So we distribute first. And then, question?
Oh, I wanted to point that out.
Oh, okay. Then we're going to, all right. So don't make this mistake. What you're going to say is the 5x is going to stay there. And I'm going to distribute negative 4x times 2x. What is that? Negative. Almost. When you multiply, the exponents change. You have 4 times 2 is 8. X times x, x squared. That's a tough one to remember when you're starting out. When we added, we don't change the exponents here, right? X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 7x squared minus 2x squared, 5x squared. Nothing happened to the exponent. When you multiply, the exponents are going to change. We have 4 times 2 is 8, negative 8. And then x times x, x to the second power. All right, now I have a negative 4x times a negative 3.
Positive 4x.
Now it's going to be a positive. 4 times 3 is 12, and then x. Again, that sign, distributing that sign to the second term, it's a little tricky, so I hope you've been practicing that. And then combine like terms. What's the highest power of x?
Negative 8x squared.
The negative 8x squared. I probably would write that one first. There's nothing like it. And then I have a 5x here and a positive 12x here. What are they?
17.
They give us positive 17. If I have x plus x, is that x squared?
No.
No.
Mr. Lopez, could you do it backwards? Could you do 17x minus?
Absolutely, minus 8x squared. I won't take points off. But I just want you to get used to the fact that when we start talking about polynomials, we're going to say, we're going to write them in standard form, always with the highest power of x first. But if you wrote 17x minus 8x squared on the test, full credit. You don't lose a point for that. This point,
As long as we have the negatives and the positives.
that's exactly right. The 8x squared must have a negative in front of it, and the 17x must be a positive. That's correct. All right. Now here you have more exponents to worry about, so let's see if we can do this carefully. You got to get rid of the parentheses here. Negative 2 times 3.
Negative 6x.
Negative 6. X squared times x squared.
X squared.
X to the 4th. That's right. It's very tempting to say, oh, they're like terms, so we're just going to keep the x squared. No, you're multiplying. You're multiplying x squared times x squared, and you're going to get x to the 4th. Okay? And then we have now, oh, this one was tricky here. Could I multiply and distribute this x times this? Okay.
Yeah.
We have two operations here. We have a multiplication. What else? And an exponent. What comes first in the order of operations? Exponents first. So that's a little, I don't want to say a trap because it almost sounds as though I'm trying to trip you up. I just want you to be aware that the order of operation applies still here. So I'm going to leave that x outside of the parentheses until I work this out first. So either on paper and pencil in my head or with the calculator, I'm going to figure out what is negative 2 to the 3rd power. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. What is that? Negative 8. And what is x to the 3rd power? X cubed or x to the 3rd. Okay? Make sure you understand that was the hard part in this problem, to get rid of that exponent properly. Everything in the parentheses is being raised to the 3rd power. That's how we got negative 8. What if this had been a 2? Out of curiosity. It was a 2. What would be negative 2 to the 2nd power? Positive 4. That's right. So be careful with the sign. In this case, we have an odd number, so negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 equals negative 8. Now, we can get rid of the parentheses here by multiplying here. So what do we have? Negative 6 x to the 4th. Now, let's multiply the coefficients. There's a 1 times a negative 8. What is that? 1 here times negative 8.
Negative 8.
Negative 8. And then x times x to the 3rd power. X to the 4th. Are these like terms? Yeah, they have the same power of x. So we add their coefficients. Negative 6 and negative 8. Negative 14 what? To the 4th. That's right. We don't change the exponent here anymore because we're just combining like terms. We're not multiplying that exponent. So that's it for question number 2.